Welcome back to another edition of All Chiefed Up, where we do Kansas City Chiefs news, analysis, and more. Today, we're going over the top 5 keys on how the Kansas City Chiefs can beat the Tennessee Titans this weekend. Mike, what you got for us, bub?
Okay, we're just going to jump right in here. Number one, I think it's pretty obvious what we got to do to beat the Titans. First thing comes to mind is Derrick Henry. We got to stop that guy.
Right.
It's simple as that. His last 3 games, he's had 28 rushing attempts against the Commanders, 30 rushing attempts against the Colts, and just last week with the rookie quarterback in the game, 32 attempts versus Houston. In those 3 games, he's had 219 yards, 128 yards, and 102, and he's had 4 total touchdowns. So, needless to say, Titans are starting to win right now, and they're using Derrick Henry to do it, which is their winning formula, always has been.
Right. Derrick Henry's an absolute monster. He's always been their go-to. They had some injury troubles with him last year, but before all that happened, we were actually in Tennessee at the game against the Chiefs where they absolutely whooped us. But to be honest, in that game, Derrick Henry wasn't a huge factor. I think he threw for a touchdown pass on a trick play in the red zone. But other than that, Nick Bolton held him in check pretty good. I'd like to see that again this game.
Yeah, the game you're referring to, he had 29 rushing attempts. He only had 86 yards,
Yeah.
and he got his lone touchdown was a gadget play where he threw it to Tannehill, I believe. We've played Derrick Henry 2 other times. In 2016, he had 9 attempts for 58 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns that game. And then in 2019, he had his best game against us, 23 attempts for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's had 5 touchdowns in 3 games versus the Chiefs. So we stop him. Like we stopped him a little bit last year with Nick Bolton, but he still found a way to manipulate, the game in the Titans' direction with that touchdown pass and just the fact that we had to focus so much on him.
Right. Well, Derrick Henry, he's like the typical you can't stop him, you can only hope to contain him. That's true with him because he's
Yeah.
just that good and he makes that much of a difference in a game. So we just got to keep him in check and not let him beat us outright. If they can figure out how to beat us with the other pieces that they have, which are not many, then more power to them.
Okay, so getting into number 2 here, offensive rhythm. I think that's what we're just going to call this one. Let's get into an offensive rhythm. Let's get Mahomes comfortable early with the play calling. Let's maybe get him some short passes. Let's hope he continues to take what the defense gives him. Let's establish a run game a little bit. I know we keep saying it, but that takes heat off Mahomes. Let's try to convert short third downs and not get us in long third downs. And then obviously with our wide receivers, Miko has been coming on a lot lately. Juju, MVS, they're all starting to look more comfortable. Let's continue to let them progress within our offense, and let's bring along Sky Moore some more. And then let's also get Kadarius Toney going, even if it's just window dressing. I'd love to see him on the field this week, and I think they may get him on the field for just that.
Yeah, I would love to see them use Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney often and early. Like if we can get Mahomes into a rhythm by throwing these little short screen passes, that's going to be critical in getting Mahomes into a good rhythm and just taking what the defense is giving him. And then that's going to leave open those big shots that could happen later on once he's more warmed up and ready to go. And not to mention, just these little short screen passes to playmakers like Scott Moore and Kadarius Toney, they could always break out. Even McCole Hardman, they can break a little screen pass into a 70-yard touchdown real fast. So, I mean, why not do that?
Yeah, so the Titans can be picked on through the air a little bit. They're starting a rookie, Roger McCreary. You remember him out of Auburn? He's starting at corner. They've got Fulton out there at corner. Hooker has been injured with a little bit of I don't know if it's a shoulder or an ankle. I'm not for sure. I have to go look that up. They got Kevin Byard on the back end. But other than that, they've allowed 14 passing touchdowns this year, and they've only allowed 1 rushing touchdown. So they've given up 1,783 yards through the air so far. I think Mahomes could have a big day here, and I think Mahomes has to put him on the back and carry him. I don't know how much we actually get on the ground, even though they do give up 4.2 yards per carry to the opposing running back, which I mean, 3 of those is a first down. That's pretty easy to see. So I think the defense is obviously kind of the weak point here. And it looks like they probably are going to play ball control with Derrick Henry going back to, point number 1. But I believe offensive rhythm is big to keeping them off the field. And if we score early and often, I don't think they got the firepower to keep up with us.
All right, key number 3 to beating the Titans is going to be for our offensive line to contain their pass rush. They do have some good pass rushing this year. Quite a bit of sacks between the group of Simmons, Walker, Dupree, and Autry. They all have 4+ sacks right now, I believe, with maybe the exception of Dupree. But they do put pressure on the quarterback, and that's something that we've allowed a couple of games this year. But this defensive front is not in that elite category like everyone else that we've been playing. So I would really like to see a good game from the offensive line.
Yeah, as you said, this is not the most elite defensive ends we've seen all year. Maybe our guys can take a little bit of a breath of fresh air from that, but let's not like overlook them at all because, like you said, DeMarcus Walker actually only has 1 sack, but other than him, Simmons has 5.5. He's basically their Chris Jones. He is the wrecker up the middle. Danico Autry has 5. Rashad Weaver has 4. Bud Dupree has 3. So these guys can get after the quarterback. They've even got a nose tackle named Tart, I believe is his name. He actually has an interception. Go figure. I don't know. But yeah, their front four, pretty solid. Not the most elite. Of course, we faced better. We faced some of the best ones so far ever. It's glad to see maybe our offensive line get a little bit of a downgrade with the defensive line this week. But again, you can't go at it, overlooking them. You just can't do that. So we need to take it seriously. And because Simmons and Bud Dupree, man, we know those two together, and Autry this year, those dudes can change a game, and you can't let them get to Mahomes and get in Mahomes' head because Mahomes ultimately is going to be the one that has to win the game here, probably.
Right. And I think this will be the first good test to see if my theory is true that we've had to face the most elite pass rushers all season long. So that's only a good thing for our offensive line. So they should be in a really good place to take care of these guys and handle it and keep them at bay. Key number 4 to beating the Tennessee Titans is to win the turnover battle. I think that the only way the Titans really will be able to beat the Chiefs is if we get careless with the ball and throw some picks, fumble the ball a few times. They're going to have to create turnovers to hang with Kansas City. So I think winning that turnover battle is going to be key to winning this game.
Yeah, so turnover battle is an easy one to always put up. Whoever wins that usually wins the game. But these guys, it's not a pushover team. Like, let's not get that twisted. We got beat by the Colts. These guys have beat the Colts now, I think, twice on the season. Maybe I have to go look that up.
They swept the Colts.
Okay, they've swept the Colts. So yeah, these guys have beat the Colts. It's a good team. They're a good team. They can always parity in this league is insane right now. So yeah, where I do think that this turnover battle could come down to is our defensive ends getting after their tackles. They're starting Nicholas Petit-Frere from Ohio State. He was rumored to be like a 3rd or 4th round pick. I don't know when they took him in the draft like perfectly, but I do know he was like 2nd round, 3rd round, somewhere in that range. He probably can be had by our defensive ends like George Karlaftis. Frank Clark could have a good game on him. That may be somewhere where we can maybe pressure Tannehill a little bit, get under Tannehill. If Tannehill doesn't play because of his ankle or because of his sickness, then of course it's a whole new set of rules how you have to defend, Malik Willis. But otherwise, I think our defensive ends can maybe pressure their tackles a little bit right there, and I think that could attribute to the turnover battle.
I think that's a really fair point. If you get Frank Clark or Carlos Dunlap lined up against Petit-Frere, that's a lot of experience against a rookie. So advantage would definitely be to the Chiefs.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, let's move on to the final one. That is number 5. How is this new look secondary going to handle not having Rashad Fenton there? I would say that it's not a big deal because Rashad Fenton's not played, 2 games already to this point, maybe 3. I'm not for sure. But yeah, I think we'll adjust pretty well. But now that these guys don't have that to fall back on, and you don't have somebody behind you, and kind of Jalen Watson's now won his job, can he keep it? Can he keep continuing to progress and play at a high level? Is Snead going to be able to hold up? How are these guys going to go? Can McDuffie get back on the field this week? That's remained to be seen. I think he should be able to return. I haven't really heard from Andy what's going to happen here. But yeah, how's our new look corners going to do? Are they going to be able to shut down the wide receivers of Robert Woods and Nick Westbrook-Ikine? Those aren't the biggest name wide receivers ever, but we do know Robert Woods is a crafty guy. Oh, Bobby Trees is tough to stop sometimes, man.
Yeah, but I think you make a fair point. Rashad Fenton is not the greatest cornerback in the world. We're not going to miss him that much. But he did have some experience in this defense and experience in the league. So now we have a really, really young group of guys in the cornerback room. Brett Veach and Andy Reid have gone all in on these young guys. So now's the time to see if that's going to be a good play or not. And we're going to see it down this stretch heading towards the playoffs.
Yeah, so this is week 9 right now, and we made our bed. If these rookies was to come out and start regressing a little bit, maybe confidence gets in their head, something, and they start backtracking a little bit here, they cannot do that. We can't go back to the trade block and go hit somebody up. So it's either stick with what we got or sign some no name off of a practice squad or, something like that. And it's like at this point, these guys got to put up or shut up. And Brett Veach has put them in position that they can't afford to shut up right now or we're in trouble.
All right, so it just occurred to me that Frank Clark is actually suspended. So our little deal about him getting one over on Petit Freer, it's going to be up to Carlos Dunlap, man.
It's Carlos Dunlap and it's George Karlaftis. I think they can still do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey man, let's just get into some score predictions for the game.
Okay, I got 31-20 Kansas City with the win here. I think player of the game, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Mahomes. I think it has to go through Mahomes this week. I'm going to give him 285 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns, and extra prediction. I think Kadarius Toney is going to have at least 2 catches for 30 yards and a touchdown. Oh, no.
All right, I got the Chiefs taking this one 42-21. My player of the game is going to be Juju Smith-Schuster. I think he's getting in a groove, and I'm going to actually get him for over 100 yards this game with 2 touchdowns, and he's going to be player of the game. Make sure to get down in the comments and let us know what you think about the 5 keys to beating the Tennessee Titans this weekend. Do you have any more suggestions? We'd like to see it down there, and we'd like to talk to you about it. Have some good football conversation. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell. As always, we appreciate you being here. Mike, anything left for Chiefs Kingdom?
No, man. Check out the Kadarius Toney highlight video. We react to it. It went up yesterday. And let's beat the Titans here, baby.
Let's go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
There goes a sight from my soul.